like Tony, the world is mine. The future in front of me, put the past behind. I'm going all in like it's my last time. I ain't asking for shit, I'm taking what's mine. I'm feeling like Tony, the world is mine. The future in front of me, put the past behind. I'm going all in like it's my last time. I ain't asking for shit, I'm taking what's mine. I'm taking what's mine. Automobiles, visions of Dubai, Lamborghini, hunger, tired of barely getting by. I'm in the mud, but my head to the sky. On that bakery shit, keep that bread on my mind. Ran these corners till I was whipping funnels around these corners. Mama praying for her son, don't end up a goner from these cold corners. Here for a reason, so many of my niggas gonna. Shadows in the dark when them angels trying to warn us. Big trucks when I pull up, looking down on you informers. Hopping out with that Teflon armor, smelling like a pound of California. Cross fast, ain't use a corner. It's death around these corners. Get your whack for a pound of marijuana. The world is mine. The future in front of me, put the past behind. I'm going all in like it's my last time. I ain't asking for shit, I'm taking what's mine. I'm feeling like Tony, the world is mine. The future in front of me, put the past behind. I'm going all in like it's my last time. I ain't asking for shit, I'm taking what's mine. I'm taking what's mine. I'm so St. Louis, like a blue Cardinals fitted. Riddle your soul with the Draco less than a St. Lo minute. I ain't have hoop dreams, I had Pyrex visions. Now it's foreign whips, I'm whipping back rubs by foreign women. From the block burning to beach resorts and lobster living. Fast lane Ferragamo flow, fish scale chemist. Blue Louis Vuitton stink, bitches think I'm still crippin' flies. A motherfucker, but far from materialistic, spiritually inclined, but far from religious. Here for a reason, chosen in his own existence. Maserati whipping nowadays, we still winning till my casket drop until I'm living in prison. I'm feeling like Tony, the world is mine. The future in front of me, put the past behind. I'm going all in like it's my last time. I ain't asking for shit, I'm taking what's mine. I'm feeling like Tony, the world is mine. The future in front of me, put the past behind. I'm going all in like it's my last time. I ain't asking for shit, I'm taking what's mine. I'm taking what's mine.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say that's the bad guy. So, what I make you? Good?
Are you coming in now?
Not good.
You're waiting 30 seconds.
You just know how to hide. Me, I don't have that power.
3, 2,
Me,
1.
I always
What's up? What's up? What's up? It is your girl, Miss Kiwi, in the building, and I am back. I am back. How's everybody doing on today? We have a great show for you all. So we would like for you all to tune in. We also would like for you all to call in, get in on this discussion. Let us know what your perfect imperfections is. I'm in the studio with my co-host, most definitely Fast Lane.
What up, what up, what up? Fast Lane in the building.
And my co-host all the way from the ATL, Mrs. Mink.
Hey,
What's going on? What's going on? We also have a special guest into the studio tonight. She dropped in. She's going to chat with us, and we're going to see what's on her mind as well. Mrs. Mooka Moore is in the building.
Welcome, Miss Mooka.
All right, y'all, loosen up, loosen up. We have a good topic. It might even be a sad, it might be a laugh, it might be, hey, just a fun topic. So tune in. If you would like to call in, 515-599-1687. That's 515-599-1687. Let's get it started.
Yes. So I want Fast Lane to get us started tonight because this was an awesome reveal that he revealed to us. So most definitely want him to, bring us on in and get us started. But I kind of want to break down a little bit real quick. Perfect imperfections. That's our topic tonight. As a part of our mission statement, is to bridge the gap between the youth and our seasoned generation. And what better to do that than to help everyone to kind of bring it out of yourself in reference to what is our perfect imperfections? What is it? because God don't make no mistakes. So, hey, we want to know, what are our perfect imperfections? I was doing a little research on this topic because it really was interesting when it was that Fastlane brought it to my attention. And I was all like, you never think about that kind of stuff, because I know as humans, we all strive to really be perfect. No matter how it is, that we kind of try to achieve that, but we do strive to be perfect. Well, perfect imperfections is that observation that imperfections are often more valuable than perfections. Now, I want you all to kind of meditate on that. Like I said, perfect imperfections is actually more valuable than perfection. Meditate on that. Fastlane, bring us on in.
Well, it all starts with loving yourself before anything else. You know what I mean? I know it sounds selfish, but we try to love. We find ourselves putting more love and more value into other people and people that seem like they're in higher places than ourselves. But what we have to realize is we all on our own personal journey. And along this journey, we find ourselves. And when I say finding ourselves, that don't necessarily mean you was lost. It just means that along this journey, as we grow, we find more things about ourselves that we like or things that we don't like. You know what I mean? And we'll find ourselves whooping ourselves, praising other people because it looks good on the outside looking in. But when you really tap into yourself, you realize, like, I got qualities they might not have, you know what I mean? Or they might have qualities I don't have. That's because God made us all in our own perfect way. Even though we're not perfect, he don't make mistakes, so it was to perfection. You know what I mean? And when I say that, you know, like we as man, we tend to judge things and we look at other people and we don't like this, we don't like, and we pass it on and we pass it on, and we don't realize we passing negative energies towards other people. We putting it out into the universe, but we don't realize, like, the main key along this journey is to know ourselves, because we have our own purpose in this world. You know what I mean? And the flaws and the good qualities we have about ourselves play a major part of who we are. You know what I mean? So that's just like, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But as you elevate and get conscious with this life we live in, you realize even those losses can be wins, because the lessons is more valuable than the losses. So even those flaws that you think are flawed because you think somebody else looking more perfect, or they shape might be better, or they might talk a good game or something, you got good qualities within yourself too, but you got to tap into self. And that's what I mean by perfect imperfections, because God gave us all something special, because we all individuals. And that means he gave us a special cut. Each one of us got our own cut. He broke the mold when he made me. He broke the mold when he made you. He broke the mold when he made Kiwi. He broke the mold when he made Mukamore. You know what I mean? Because even twins, they no matter how much they look alike, they got their own purpose. You know what I mean? They got their own spirit within them. They got their own soul within them. You know what I mean? They might share identity alike. They look alike. You can identify them as looking just alike. But one might be happy. One might be mean. One might be nice. You know what I mean? One might be real vicious. You know what I mean? Just because it looks good don't mean like it's all good. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that look perfect might not love theyself. You know what I'm saying? They steady trying to fix theyself. They steady trying to change theyself. And, you know, like they say, somebody for everybody. Well, that means that somebody out here is going to appreciate you exactly for who you are. You know what I mean? Just as well as I've learned to appreciate myself for exactly who I am. Because one thing along this journey as a man, you know, we try to identify ourselves with other men that might be in better positions, or a stronger man, and try to make ourselves stronger, or, you know, whatever the case may be. It might look like he rich, like physically, but spiritually he might be poor. You know what I mean? And I say that because the more I have tapped into myself, you know, I was chasing money, and I realized, like, he gave me so much within me that all I got to do is tap into me, and what's for me is going to come, because he gave us exactly what we need within ourselves. You know what I mean? No matter how much it seems like we lacking, he gave us what we need. You just don't know it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's ask our guests, that's in the studio. Mook Mook. Is it Mooka Mook or Mook Moore?
No, it's Mooka Moore.
Okay, Mook Moore. Sorry. Boo, you know I'm sorry. Your cousin didn't mean nothing by it.
Okay.
But anyway, tell us a little bit about what do you think about perfect imperfections? What does that mean to you?
But
And I can't see you.
Before you go there, just give the people a little bit about Mooka Moore so they can know your background and what you do.
All right, so I am an artist. I rap. I am also an entrepreneur. I do a little bit of everything. I just can't classify it as just one thing. I do a lot of everything, but the biggest thing that I do is just like be myself for one. You know, you got to be yourself in order for everything else to go in the right category, what you're trying to do, or the field, or the industry that you're trying to become. And not only that, you know, you got to figure out who you are. That's what Fastlane said too. When you know who you are, this is my stand I always go by. I say, know who you are before they treat you like who you not.
Oh, I like that.
You gotta know who you is, because like
yes,
it's so easily to get tricked out your spot and get got. So like if I know your potential and you don't know your potential, I can come take your potential. Right. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So what that is, I had to mold myself, and it comes with where you came from, your environment, the people that you're surrounded, and I am who I am because of the stuff that I had to conquer and endure, but it made me who I am. So when you ask me who I am, I'm everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm everything.
That's what's up. So now kind of tell us a little bit about what do you think perfect imperfections is and related to yourself.
Okay, so perfect imperfection, I'm trying to think logical, not emotional. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, sometimes emotions come with logic.
But
thinking,
I think people try to be too perfect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially in this generation that we living in, you know, it's so many influences going on, but nobody influencing the right way. Right. So perfect is not something that I would say. Like I would say better imperfection, but not really perfect, because we can think that we could be perfect, and then you know, when you buy a car and you be like, oh, you got a car, and then when you pull up on another car, you be like, I want that car now. So it's like nothing never too perfect for us to be satisfied with. So, you know, I think it's like likewise. What you think, what you put out there, what you going after, what you want for yourself, and what's perfect for you, not nobody else.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And that's what makes it so, as far as like when we say perfect imperfections, it's kind of like, as you hearing the perfect, you got to hear the imperfections that go with it, because that means like no matter how imperfect it is, it's just right, because what's in you, what he gave it to you for a reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like we go through certain things and we might fall and we wonder like, damn, why I do this to myself? Or why did I end up right here? And that's because we haven't realized the purpose of what we was going through yet. But as time go by, and when it's time for us to utilize that lesson we learned, that's when we realize what he was showing us. And so that mean like, it's like this. Well, why did I make this left? I knew I wasn't supposed to make this left turn. And then you run into somebody you've been looking for a long time. So even when you thought you was making the wrong turn, you were still being led somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
because
that's right.
Because we being guided no matter how much we think we're not. You know what I mean? That's just the same way as like them certain flaws that we don't like about ourselves. Somebody else gonna come along and they gonna love it. They're gonna love it.
And speaking about our flaws, and this question is for all of us. I just want you all to name me 2 things that maybe you didn't like about yourself. And then I'm going to ask you 2 things that you did like about yourself, or you didn't like it, but you embraced it and you changed it and you made it, you know, like now you feel better about it. You know what I'm saying? Do that make sense to you? Like, so I just want to know, like, what are 2 things that, you know, you might not have liked about yourself, you know?
Well, let's let you start.
Okay.
Because we haven't heard too much from you yet.
Okay, well, I will start. You know, like growing up as a child, you know, there was a couple of things I didn't like about myself, and one of them was my skin color. I always thought I was too dark because I actually was the darkest out of all of my siblings. They were more of a lighter brown skin, and I was a really like darker skin, and I was teased a lot. But what it did was it taught me how to Joan. And no, seriously, and in Joning, you know what I'm saying? It took that attention off of me being dark skinned. Because, you know, we always used to say light bright was right. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing I didn't like about myself was my hands. I always thought my hands was too big. But, you know, as you grow and you start developing, you know, I got into the hair industry and I start liking things about myself because I start seeing the qualities that of the things I didn't like.
Yes. Amazing. Yes, most definitely. Yes.
See, Harvey always says you can get somebody to like you by being funny.
Yeah. So what is something you guys didn't like about you also?
I would say, me personally, I always find everything not to like, you know what I'm saying? I be so hard on myself. So I can find anything, and it could be something so little, and I make it a big thing, and that's what I dislike about myself. And another thing that I like about myself is like trying to like be kind of like, this kind of may sound funny, but like overwork myself, like be successful. I think I think about it too much, and it causes me to like cloud my mind to where I feel like I'm not doing enough. And then it could be like success depression. You know what I'm saying? Because I can be like depressed, but it's about being successful. And I have so much in me, in my thoughts, like I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? It's so much. Yeah. But I stopped doing this. I just started to journal. And that's kind of like to release all of this stuff that's been like blocked in my mind and get it out.
I like what you said, because journaling helps me too. So I can relate to that a whole lot.
So go ahead, Miss Mink. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so something that I didn't like about myself, I'm an overachiever, always have been, always. I've never thought that I am doing enough. That's why it is that I was in school so much. I mean, even after I graduated, I had my firstborn. I didn't know I was pregnant, but let me tell you something. I took him to school with me. He was right in class with me. And after, you know, they grew up, I continued on in school. I've changed, you know, my degrees a couple of times. And so it's always been that mixed emotion of striving for perfection. I'm one that, you know, flaws, oh my God, I don't deal with them well. I do not deal with them well. But what I have started to do is understand that I am not perfect. Exactly. I'm not perfect.
Exactly.
And I have flaws. I have flaws. So, hey, what I have to do, what I try to kind of like custom myself to do is focus on one thing at a time. Because when you try to focus on too many things, because you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that, you're trying to prove this. I was a single mom, so I felt that, hey, I could play that daddy role and I could play that mama role. And there was no exceptions to that. Oh, but honey, that slapped me in the face, because for the simple fact, the reason being, I can't be the daddy.
Exactly.
I can only be the mother. So those were a couple of things that, you know, were some of my imperfections. And another thing is, I don't like to, you know, do things by myself. I like to be by myself sometimes, but I'm not one of those that feel comfortable with like going to the movies by myself, going out to eat. And I see a lot of people that do that, both male and female. And I look at them and I'll be all like, why? You know, do you not have nobody? Or, you know, why would you want to go somewhere like that and be alone? But what I'm learning is that that's a part of self-love. You know,
therapy. That's therapy.
Revitalized when you spend that quality time with yourself.
Because, you know, it's very powerful when, if you could spend time with yourself and have a good time, that means it ain't gonna be hard to spend time with that right person and have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they that right energy though. You know what I mean? Because some people could throw it off. You know what I mean? So it comes down to that comes back to when they say loving ourselves before loving anybody else. You know what I mean? That means doing the things that you love to do. You know what I mean? You give yourself that alone time, and you know how to spend that alone time where you're happy, not sitting up beating yourself up, sitting up crying or complaining, you know what I mean? Or talking about why this and why that. We got to learn to accept it for what it is. And that's this life we live in. Where you at right now is where you at, no matter how much you want to be in other places. Now, I'm not saying settle. What I'm saying is don't beat yourself up, because it's something right here for you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Even the ground level. One thing I learned about the ground level is like it do seem hard because the struggle is real, but on the ground it's lessons there for you that could get you where you need to go. And you know, like me myself, like one thing since a child I always was an overthinker. And me being an overthinker was always like, I'm always thinking ahead of before something happened. I'm always, you know what I mean? And I come to realize that overthinking also came with a gift, because I felt things and I didn't know that. You know what I mean? The more I got conscious, I realized the things I was feeling, I was being warned. You know, it's basically almost like foreshadowing. You know, I was being warned. So when I would overthink things, that's because I was feeling certain things that could happen before it happened, and I didn't know that. You know what I mean? And so the more I got conscious, I realized like it was there the whole time. You know what I mean? It didn't just happen to me, it was already there. But overthinking, I used to always overthink. Like I figure something out and then I refigure it out and refigure it out, and I'll be like, damn, I'm like, before you know it, I'm frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Because I done came up with 10 different ways to do the same thing.
Your mind be so crowded. It be like, oh my goodness, it be so much that we think about, you know. And then it's like we want so much for ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we want a job, we want a side hustle, we want the nice cars, we want all of that. And it's so hard because it's like we so hard on ourselves. But really, I just feel like I stopped chasing money. I just let it attract me. I just stopped.
Yeah, and like Fastlane just alluded to, you know, we cloud ourselves with you know, which causes impact of what God is trying to tell us, what God is saying to us, and how it is that we can be led to get to, you know, that, because God made us in a perfect image of himself with our imperfections, because he knew that there was things that we were going to encounter along the path that he has set for us, that, you know, hey, we can't be perfect. So we have to be able to accept those flaws, most definitely.
Well, you know, he made sure that we wasn't exactly perfect, because that flaw will be part of the reason why we would still need him. As far as, you know, reaching out to him when we can't do certain things, or reaching out to him knowing that we're at a point where we can't do no more than what we done did for ourselves. You know what I mean? So it still gives us that reason to get down on them knees and pray, or stand up and pray, or be at work and pray, or, you know what I mean? You can be on the block and pray, wherever you stand. You know what I mean? That's why he said, come as you are, because he didn't want you to feel like you got to be at a certain place to come talk to him. He didn't. Because he made us exactly how he knew we was going to be. We didn't know how we was going to be, but he knew we was going to be exactly how we was going to be. That's why it's a perfect imperfection, because with our flaws will be the cause of why we reach back out to him. You know what I'm saying? We have to come back home with them flaws, because he knock us down to pick us up higher. You know what I mean? So, you know, like that is necessary. And once you master that, it's just like, it's like this, like us being his children, he don't want us to whoop ourselves so much as because of what we can't do. You know what I mean? He want us to learn from what we can't do and recognize what we can do. You know what I mean?
That's right.
For real. Yep. And it's okay, because everybody's not meant to be a carpenter. Everybody's not meant to be certain things that other people can be. That's why everybody got a certain position.
All right, now we ain't gonna cut you off, Fastlane, but we got. All right, now we got a caller.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, caller. State your name.
Hey, this is Cool Papa Bear. Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, Cool Papa Bear. What's going on with you today, baby?
I'm hanging in there. I just wanted to call in and talk on the subject y'all were talking about.
Okay, then. We talking about perfect imperfections.
Okay. That's a very, very tricky topic right there.
Well, then let it
Because
trick you, baby, and talk.
Why you say it's tricky?
Well, because nobody is perfect. Everybody has some type of imperfection.
For real?
Hey, that's very good observation, bro. Because you know why? Like when people hear this topic, only thing they hearing is perfect.
Perfect.
Right.
That's it.
We all get caught up in that word perfect, but we don't hear the second part of it. Imperfections, meaning it's your perfect flaws that you gotta embrace. Not you thinking you're perfect. It's the flaws, which meaning that it's okay to be, it's okay to have flaws. It's okay to fall. It's okay to not know. It's okay to fail. Most millionaires that build billion dollar companies have said they lost a lot to get there. You feel me? So that means the lessons was more valuable than the money. You know what I mean? And that's like what I mean by perfect imperfections. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you something, cool Papa Bell, since you called in on this topic, and we really appreciate you because we want to know what your thoughts and views are. Do you think or do you feel that perfect imperfections could be a compliment?
Well, it can, yeah. Well, yeah, because for the simple fact, even though you have imperfections, you still found perfection in yourself. And you don't want to be confused with the word perfection, because just because you have high self-esteem don't mean that you know what I'm saying? Perfection, you feeling that you perfect is you having high self-esteem in yourself. Some people will mistake it for arrogance or being stuck up, but it ain't that. You just know who you is. Exactly. You accepted what God gave you, and you rocked out with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what you're saying basically is that it's nothing wrong with feeling bougie, as people say, or feeling confident, because that's really what it is in yourself. That's what you're saying.
Correct, because you know who you know who you are. You don't have to dumb yourself down or make yourself feel inferior or anything else to make somebody else happy.
But a lot of people do that, though, I feel, and this is just my opinion. I feel a lot of people do that because there's something going on within their self, and they're trying to take that attention off of them. So I'd rather put you on Front Street and make you the center of attention, so nobody will focus on me and my flaws. But the thing of it is no matter what your flaw is, it's not perfect. We strive for perfection, and we are not perfect. But the thing of it is that you really have to start embracing, and that's all the way down from the littlest to the biggest, to the ugliest to the prettiest, to every dot, every wrinkle, every freckle. And we really have to love ourselves.
Yes,
that's what it all comes back to.
Because I found that, when I was doing a little bit of research, that it was a little thing that said it gave me 17 beautiful imperfections, and like you just stated, that pimple, that wrinkle, that frown, those frown lines, those thick arms, those thick hips, those thick waists, those are all beautiful imperfections. Because you can take those flaws and mold them into a whole being of perfection. So I like that. I like what you just said.
We can use the Notorious Big for an example. I mean, he took what he had and made himself the king of New York.
Man.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That's because he looked past that sleepy eye, whatever. See, what we got to realize is, like, perfect imperfections, like, your imperfections is only seen from someone who's outside looking in, and yourself. But once you get past you whooping yourself, what somebody else talking about don't matter. And you embrace what you is, and that's when you walk into destiny. That's what he did. He didn't care about fat boy or this big fat black or whatever names you could call him. He embraced that swag in him, that G in him. And he like, I'm going to make big boys look good. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he did. And that's a perfect example, bro, because no matter what people say out their mouth, somebody going to love you because God didn't make a mistake. You see what I'm saying? So the moment we realize, like, I'm not here by mistake. I'm here for a reason. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody here by mistake, because he don't make mistakes. You see what I'm saying? So we have to embrace what we got. Because, you know, like when you even on ground level, my nigga, and you ain't got no other way to go, only way you could get up is by embracing where you at and making a difference. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're going to keep crying and be stuck where you at. And that's just like you looking at yourself crying, complaining about what I ain't and what I ain't got. And you going to be right there day in, day out, steady complaining to yourself until you start saying, no, what I got, I need to just do a little bit for myself more. Or maybe I ain't loving myself like I need to. So before somebody else complain, you know you ain't treating yourself right. Or you know if you sitting up eating till your stomach hurting, or you eating late night and then you big body. And okay, it's okay though, because if that's what you love, somebody might come along and love you. But if you don't love it for yourself, then check yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because you the first step before anybody else. You know what I mean? You look in the mirror more than anybody else. And that's what we have to realize. We can't lie to ourselves, though. You know what I mean? And that ain't about being perfect. It's just about knowing that I want more for myself. That's just like some people settle for just not having a little bit or just getting by. Some people want more. And that's what it starts from within, though. That hunger from within. You know what I mean? And
but a lot of people don't have that hunger from within, and a lot of people
don't want it like that.
But I feel like everybody come from a different household, though. So just because you got that grind and that hunger and that ambitions, this person might not grew up with that, though. You know
we ain't talking about them. I'm talking about self. I said if you want it, you gonna want more. If you don't, you could be comfortable where you at. That's what I said. Which means
what about those that have a hard time? Say for instance, they want it, but they got a hard time how to do it, how to get to that point of recognizing self, how to get to that
spending more time with self.
Exactly.
Loving yourself.
Nobody else tell you
That's
how
what
to
I'm trying to tell them. That's what I'm talking about. Loving yourself more. You see what I'm saying? I've been in a wheelchair, okay? And I'm only saying that from a point where in that wheelchair, it was only two ways it could have been. Either I was going to accept this wheelchair, or I felt like in myself, like, I know myself. I got places to be. I got things to do. And I need to be standing up, moving around. I can't wait for somebody to push me there. So that was either I'm going to pick myself up and embrace what God telling me, because he put that energy in me for me to have that energy to get back up. You see what I'm saying? Or I could have accepted where I was at and just wallowed in my struggles and my sorrows, and that's where it would have stopped at. So the thing is, we all have to wake up, no matter what household we was in. One day either you're going to wake up or you're going to stay asleep. You know what I mean?
Okay, but let me just say this. And I'm going to speak from, say for instance, because our world is really dealing with a lot of people with mental illness. True. When people are dealing with mental illness, then they don't, or when they are depressed, or because that's a form of mental illness, then they don't have that drive, that thrive. You know, they've even lost that faith part. So how can we, because it worked for, us. We are those type that strive to, recognize when it is that we need to love thyself and so on and so forth. But there are a lot that's in the world now that don't have that motivation, that get up to go. They don't even know how to get it. So how can we help them, kind of help them through what it is that they're going
helping them help themselves? How we could do it is what we doing right now. Like letting them know that we ain't perfect either. And we struggle too. We've been through things too. And we had to pick ourselves up too. You see what I'm saying? That's playing your part. See, the thing is, you can't be mad for somebody that have embraced what's within them. What you could do is recognize that strength too, and take that energy and check yourself and pick yourself back up. And it starts by listening. Because if you ain't listening to somebody trying to pick you up, then it's no other way. They got to pick themselves up. You know what I mean? So myself, I feel like the best person that could tell me something is somebody that done been where I done been. You know what I mean? And in order for them to tell me something, I got to be able to listen to them. You know what I mean? So it goes back to being able to open up.
They got to figure out what caused everything. When a person has a mental illness, something triggered that in life.
Right.
So until they go back and touch what triggered that in life, they'll never be able to get ahead. They'll always have that illness. It could be an example of being touched as a little child. or
And I'll
somebody
go
always
back to
picking on you or always
I'll go
talking
back
about
to
your
what it
clothes.
is that I stated.
Until you
So
accept that
I understand
and
what it
accept
is
those,
that you're
you
saying.
know,
It's easy for
until you
it's
accept it,
easier
you know, you
said.
can't really get
It's
past it.
easier
You gotta
said than
take
done.
that problem
True
that made
indeed.
Dealing
you
with mental
sick,
illness,
and you
but
have
it's
to
easier
conquer
said than
that,
done.
and then you can make steps to heal yourself.
It's
Okay.
easier said
True
than
indeed.
done.
And that is, it's easier said than done, but I would just say, and this is just my opinion. You saying how could we help someone? The best thing to do is, all I can say is for one, you have to believe in something. Because a lot of people don't believe in anything.
Nothing. So how can you change?
But they believe in this social media. They believe in that I can go out here and get a drink or smoke. And I'm not downplaying or talking about nobody, but what I am saying is that a lot of mental illness come from things that they allowed in their life.
No, not necessarily.
Well,
Not
some people
necessarily.
can be born with a mental illness
I
too.
think
But what I'm saying is that we speak on mental illness. Mental illness can go a long way, a very long way, because we do know that there's millions of people with mental illness. But we also have to start addressing self, because even with a mental illness, the only way you're gonna get through or be able to deal with your mental illness is you gotta deal with yourself and whoever your higher power is.
So that's the reason why it is that I was saying what I'm saying. And
We-
I've been there. I've been in it. And
So then tell us or tell
the
the people how you came out of it, or what helped you through it.
But what you have to realize is that when people get to that point to where it is that they are in that imperfection of mental illness, then they don't understand how. So it does take, that's the reason why I'm saying, as far as how we can, like Fastlane stated, we're on this platform to try and reach out to people. People listen, but a lot of people don't have that will. So it takes someone to help will them back.
Exactly.
So that
But a
point.
lot of people, listen, you can sit here and say, you got to believe in God. You need to get a relationship with Jesus. You need to, you know what I'm saying? I can sit here because that's how I feel and that's my opinion. The only way you're going to make it is if you have a personal relationship. And the thing about it is you have to find something, someone, and some place that you can trust. Because the mental illness that you deal with could be all kind of things.
Exactly.
But how do we actually tell someone how to get to that point? Because we can sit here and say you need to do this, that, or that.
That's right. That's
But
what we're doing right now.
even with doing that,
Exactly.
and we can do that. But I'm just saying, we also have to be able to let them know that, listen, you gotta find it within. You got to find it within.
You with a mental illness, you have to acknowledge first that you have an illness.
A mental illness.
Like, cause I've been through it too. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, in order for me to get myself back right, I had to look at myself and see
shake
what the
yourself
hell
up.
everybody was talking about.
Go back to loving self.
And then once I peeped what everybody was talking about, then I said, okay, I'm going to have to rectify this. So I started catching myself. And then I started looking at the things that caused me to act like I was crazy, or what was causing me to lash out. And what was doing it to me is, a lot of people I was growing up with was asking about why I'm hiding my money at. And that people that I grew up with my whole life, that I trusted with my life, I can't, it's like I found out the people I trusted, they really didn't have my back. And they really was plotting on me. And that was a lot right there to just deal with. Like, we've been rocking since we were 4 years old. And you know what I'm saying? Y'all coming after me and doing this, that, and the other. Everything that I thought I knew and everything about me, I realized it wasn't true. I had to rediscover that. But once I realized the triggers, I got those triggers up out my life, and I addressed my issues. I I realized I had a problem, and then that problem went away.
Because sometimes, but sometimes we have to understand that some people bring more habit to us in our mental or our situation than they add to it. So that's all I'm saying is that.
But those are the triggers. Those are the people you got to stay away from. If you know they're going to cause you to have a negative outcome. But
sometimes you don't know that.
Stay away from them.
Sometimes you don't know it until you
gotta
right
go
there.
through something to get through something.
Exactly.
And the thing is, this what I wanted to say though, sis, as far as how do we reach those people. Like, the problem about this journey and information is we expect everybody to be on our level.
And
like this is where it gets real at. Certain conversations ain't for everybody. You could go listen to some people listen to motivational speakers and embrace what they saying, and some people get bored by it because they want to hear music. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, either you're gonna be ready for what you're hearing or you're not. And you can't expect people with mental illnesses to be able to embrace what we're saying like we're embracing it. But one thing I have learned is soul food stick no matter if you want to eat it or not. You know what I mean? So eventually, in their own little quiet time, they might hear you. Even when you thought they wasn't listening. You know what I'm saying? They might hear you. Or when your spirit is connected. See, we talking about a physical reaction from a person you saying mentally ill. But a lot of those people got gifts. You know what I'm saying? We don't understand their gifts because they different. You know what I mean? Like me, myself, I have learned to embrace when somebody say, you word. I thought you was the same, but you were. But the thing is, that means I'm different than what you used to. You see what I'm saying? So even those that have mental illnesses, they feel certain things we don't feel. They got certain gifts that we don't have because God didn't make mistakes with them either. And even those that have flaws, how could you know what's up if you didn't know what was down? How could you know if your mind was right if you ain't see nobody, if you didn't see somebody who didn't have their mind together? You see what I'm saying? And even when you have meetings at your job, everybody in the business is not sitting in certain meetings. You see what I'm saying? Right. So it's different levels of conversation because what's for you is for you no matter what we talking about. You know what I mean? We can't reach everybody with this conversation. You know what I'm saying? But somebody that's on this level, that's at this part of their journey, they gonna hear what we saying. Somebody that ain't, they gonna reject it. It's people that don't have mental illnesses that don't want to hear what we talking about, but they don't even realize they one of those people. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know. And another thing I wrote down is hothead. That was another thing I didn't like about myself. I didn't get to the second one, but that hothead. You know what I mean? But once I learned who I was and what I came from and the chemistry of this mix up within me, you see what I'm saying? It all makes sense. And the high head ain't really so much about, as a youngster, it was a high head. But the more I have grown, it's an energy within me that's needed. You know what I mean? I got a purpose within me that energy is necessary. I was just misusing it. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know my purpose. And that go back to knowing myself. You see what I'm saying? So it all goes back to loving ourselves. Even those that on the outside looking in, somebody diagnose you to be mentally ill. But that person that's diagnosing you, he might be ill too. It's just nobody's writing it down. You see what I'm saying? So it goes back to self. Some people want to hear it, some people don't. But God got a way of reaching them too. You see what I'm saying? He might talk to them. He might talk to them through birds. You see what I'm saying? We might not understand it, but he understands it. You know what I mean? So it comes back down to this.
You know what? I understand it too, but you're doing exactly what it is that I'm saying that we need to do. Like you stated, there are people that aren't willing to hear it. There's people that's not even mentally ill that are willing to hear it. But all I'm saying is that we have to, you know, still have that certain level of understanding in reference to that that person that isn't, you know, willing to hear it, because they ain't even willing to embrace or touch, you know, themselves to recognize those flaws, to bring those flaws into, you know, healing and trying to become that perfect person. I'll say that imperfect, perfect person.
That's a major purpose of this topic. Perfect imperfections. See, even those that we call mental, that's just a professional theory. You know what I mean? They put a title on it. And then there's some people that move different. They say he weird. Or it's some people that chase money because they hungry and they came from nothing. See, a lot of us, we don't know what drive people around us until you get into their world. You see what I'm saying? So, like one thing we have been cursed by is judgment. And no matter what religion we claim or whatever, he told us nobody got room. Show me a perfect man and he could be the first one that cast stone. That's what it goes back to. You know, like some people think because they got certain things together that they better. But it's a lot of things they lacking. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's the purpose of a perfect imperfection. That means we all got flaws. So we could drop that thinking you perfect or you better than somebody. We dropping all that. Now, embrace who you is. What part can you bring to the table as who you is? Not because of what you got. How can we build together? You know what I mean? Because it's some people that might act like they crazy, but they hear everything. You see what I'm saying? See, and that's that. And when I say that, because me myself, no matter how I've been blessed or how much I done lost, I have always stayed grounded. I will go sit with the people. I don't even call them bums, but I go sit with those that's going through something, and they got something to offer me, because you never know you never know who God gonna use. You see what I'm saying? That's what I have learned. So when we looking at people from either a perfect angle or we looking at them as they flaws, we judging their flaws, we gonna miss the lesson that might be right in front of us. You know what I mean? Because one thing I have learned, that like you wouldn't know your good days if you didn't have bad days. So they all play a part. You see what I'm saying? That's right. They all play a part. You wouldn't even appreciate them good days if you ain't have bad days. You see what I'm saying?
Because you ain't got nothing to preach about, honestly.
Exactly.
You don't have nothing to, talk about. In my opinion, I feel that someone that tells you that they feel like you're perfect imperfection, they truly have a certain level of admiration for you. They are able to admire and accept your flaws. Right. This builds character, because if they admire not only because of things that you do good at something, but also your drive. They notice that you have that drive, you have that will, you have that motivation to want to strive for something different. So, hey, perfect is not always, as I stated, the most valuable. Exactly. It's the imperfect that's the most valuable, because
but that makes sense too, though. It makes sense, because how are you gonna learn or become a better you if you perfect?
That means you stuck. Life is a learning process. So the moment you think you got it all figured out, you're gonna be right where you think you got it all figured out. And it's a lot more information. The more you consciously elevate, the more you can accept and be able to take in information. You see what I'm saying? Yep. So when we be stuck with the little information we think we know, we be stuck. That's why they say a wise man know he knows nothing, and a fool think he knows it all. Because a fool could think he perfect, when a wise man know it's no man walking this earth perfect. You see what I'm saying?
Every day a learning lesson.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So,
and if you're not learning something every day, then you need to go and reevaluate yourself.
Exactly.
As in, go look in the mirror and check it out.
Exactly.
Who do you see? Not me. So I'm just saying, like, hey, everybody have flaws.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Okay.
I am very unique. I was not born with nothing on my hip. Nobody can clone me. I don't care how much you might try.
Absolutely not.
But they can't clone me. I am not her, and she is not me. And we will never be.
I feel that, but I wish we could get away from that word flaw. There ain't even no such thing as a flaw. Don't nobody got a flaw. How can you look at somebody and say, oh, they a little bigger? You like 747 said, y'all judge you. If you weren't judging in the first place, you wouldn't even notice this flaw. I just hate that word flaw. I don't even think we should even have flaws or imperfections. I think everybody is beautiful the way they are. The way God made you, you beautiful.
Sure. We appreciate that too, Papa Bill. Thank you so much, because you're right. Our imperfections that it makes our life interesting, and it helps us to grow. That's what it does.
So
it really helps us to grow.
So is our imperfection of someone else's opinion?
Exactly.
Cause I'm not understanding.
You just said it.
No,
because
you're
if you see something that's imperfect, most of the time that's somebody on the outside looking in. So that means when you embrace my own flaws, I'm saying like when I embrace my own flaws, then that means that it's only how it was made to be. You see what I'm saying? And some people was made to be tall. Some people was made to be short.
And I think a lot of people want to make you comfortable around them. You know what I'm saying? Like if you too much for me, I gotta shimmer you down and make myself comfortable. And I am who I am, and I'm not who I never be.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's their imperfections.
And that's how it's
Some people thrive off of other people's energy.
Yeah.
They can't energize themselves. They can't energize themselves.
On the nose.
See, but that's when you learn how to sit alone, though.
Yeah.
I don't have to sit amongst everybody. I don't have to sit amongst everybody to have fun.
Some people energies gravitate to you. If I can soak your energy out and leave you emotionally drained, it makes me feel good. That's how people operate. You get what I'm saying?
That's what you call energy vampires.
That's what people do.
Energy vampires.
And you would think something wrong with you.
But I'm gonna say this too, though.
That's why you gotta be careful of the company
even
you
the
keep.
ones that soak up all of that and drain people energy need to watch out, because why are you taking on all of these different energies?
Exactly.
Now you don't know what you want to
you
be.
are.
You
They
don't want to
lost.
be happy.
Well,
you want to be sad. You don't know if you want to be mad. You don't know if you want to go piss yourself or if you want to just go be fly. You don't know what you want to do because you got so many different energies inside of you.
One thing I've told myself is that when I got older, I started to say, like, you have to be around people who is for you, no matter what.
Come on now, and I learned a long time ago, everybody ain't for me.
It sounds cliche, but it's really the truth. Mess with who mess with you. It won't be no problem. It takes too much money. All that to beef with a person, to talk bad about a person, it make your head hurt. Be with who messes with you, and it's gonna benefit everybody. You get what I'm saying? But if I'm trying to get to the next level and I'm a boss, I can't be messing with nobody who pulling me down, getting me in the mix of court stuff and fighting everywhere. It's too much going on. I don't got time for all of that.
That's why people have to start loving themselves. It's nothing wrong with loving yourself. Anytime you start loving somebody else, that means you are neglecting self.
Yeah.
You start making sure they're okay.
And
everything they want to do is okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna make sure their dream come true, but you come and you start
putting
losing
your
yourself.
dream to the side.
You dig what I'm
Because,
saying?
you know, people feel like it's like they don't know how to be to themselves. They feel like they have to have somebody to make them feel some type of way.
But I'm gonna say
and
this
that's not
though.
the case.
But I'm gonna say this though. So to a certain extent, that could be okay, and the reason I say that, that's for the people who feel like they really need somebody else, because there are people in the world that feel like they can't be alone. They need somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's okay, because if that somebody else compliments you or help you get where you need to go, I feel that's okay. And that's just my opinion.
It's okay.
But you still have to
is that a
love
soulmate
yourself.
or is that a friend?
It could be a friend. It could be a soulmate. It could be
A twin flame.
It could be any. Because I'm gonna tell you something. God can send a leaf, a branch, a rock to send you a message to make you feel good, like as if it was a human that made you feel that it was okay about what you were going
He
through.
can feel you a fresh breath of air, and you'll be like, wow, all of a sudden I felt a cool breeze that made me feel something.
I'm telling
you. Know?
Yeah.
And that all goes back to being able to love yourself. The more you love yourself, see, only way you could get to that level of really loving yourself is spending time with yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because as long as you got people in your mix, you're taking on their conversation, their energy, their ideas. Like, that's why they say you got to be careful of who you sit with, who you invite to your table. Because like you said, some people will be sitting around you just to drain you. You know what I mean? But they play a part too. You see what I'm saying? Because then that helps you understand the difference in those that's good for you and those that ain't good for you. But that goes back to knowing what you love. You know what I mean?
So this has been another hot, great topic. But we know that it has come to our end where we start tying it up. So I'll start off with tying us up. I want to first also give a shout out to Choices. I did a give back community. And believe me, I let them all know about Why Not Say It. And I got a few people that would love to come on our show to, for whenever we have a topic. They told me to make sure that we reach out in reference to that. And one of them, Rye, is she's a producer. And so I was telling her about you. I showed her your video and music and everything like that. As a matter of fact, she's following you on YouTube. But I say that to say, why should we strive for imperfect instead of perfect? At the end of the day, we all want to live fulfilling lives that leave us feeling well-rounded and complete. But when we accept imperfection as perfection, we're allowing ourselves the opportunity to truly succeed. So we want to take that outside pressure and stress away and just gain that ability to focus on oneself. Gain that ability to focus on our goals and what it is that it means to take our flaws and make us whole. So I'm gonna leave that with us, and hey, we're gonna revisit this, because this is yet again something that is very, very good. Knowing yourself, taking those imperfections, taking that perfection mindset and accepting the imperfections.
Right. Change. It ain't about how hard you fall. It's about how high you rise when you get back up.
That's right.
And that just means knowing that we gonna fall, but you got to get back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't whoop yourself. And that's what I mean.
Don't beat yourself up.
Don't
beat yourself up. Everybody beat themselves up. And then people be rushing. Oh, don't you rushing the journey. Just enjoy it.
That's right. Yeah. End of the story. Accept your life and all its limitations, and know that it's okay not to get everything right the first time, second time, third time. But remember that we are all imperfectly perfect.
All right now. We are signing off till next Friday. Tune in. Call in 515-599-1687. If there's anything that you might want to talk about, reach out. We're going to talk about it. Love y'all. Why Not Say It?
Peace.